Welcome everybody to another episode of 3 Minute Marketing. I'm your main man, Chris Mechanic, longtime performance marketing geek and agency owner. Super excited to be here today with Hunter Montgomery. Hunter's a very impressive individual, long history in marketing, demand gen, storied careers like from Verizon Business to Vocus before they became before they were acquired. Cision, right? And then with Higher Logic, and now with Churn Zero, which in and of itself is an amazing company, amazingly successful. I know you, Mon, actually, from the Vocus days. So super excited to be here. Welcome to the show.
Thanks, Chris. Excited to be here.
Absolutely. So here on 3 Minute Marketing, we like to talk about kind of the intersection of all disciplines. We love sort of growth marketing unicorn types. So I'm excited to have you, because you can go from like brand build, like brand awareness and comms to like, lead gen, like hardcore, hard-nosed lead gen kind of thing. So I love the conversation. And we're doing a slightly different format today where we're just kind of having a conversation and we're going to take the best snippets of it.
A lot of success in marketing is the blocking and tackling. Like, I think that gets overlooked because I think there's a lot of shiny objects in the marketing world. You have specialists on a football team. Maybe different than a soccer team. Specialists, you have the line that are doing the blocking. And, that's their main thing. So they're going to go to a drill that works on that. So marketing is similar, right? Let's say we have the email marketing person, right? So they need to know landing pages. They need to know list selection. They need to know call to action. And they do a lot of testing. They need to test every time they send something out let's test it. Let's get better. Subject line, landing page, content, call to action. There's a lot of things that person can do and improve upon. And go to inbound, right? Go to hopefully when it's back in person or be it online. Go learn what other people are doing because there's a lot of people doing it. And so you don't have to reinvent it every time, but you have to see what's working. And then you have like the wide receivers that are much more specialized. Like they're just doing routes. Maybe those are the content people, right? Okay, we know we've got to write a blog post. That's pretty standard. But how are we going to make the topics different? How are we going to make sure if we're looking at SEO, the keywords are being used? Right. Because there are set things that you need to do every time you do it. But you also have a little flair. You have to do a little bit of pizzazz because all of a sudden you get a blog post that's getting 1,000 views. What's the one that's going to get 2,000 views? Right? What's that little different? But also, hey, you still got to do the down and out. You got to get the first down. So let's do the top 10 list. Because that's a standard one that everybody does. It works, right? But if you did all top 10 lists, people are going to stop following and listening to your blog. The quarterback is really, okay, I'm more strategy. I'm more, how am I going to get us for a 20-yard line to the end zone? And I've got all these tools around me. There's going to be some email. There's going to be some content around there. There's going to be a combination of how am I going to make, turn a webinar into a blog post into a workflow in HubSpot to get all these people around this campaign. It's ultimately going to get me to all those people that are going to come back into our system, and we're going to hand them off to the sales team and say either they've raised their hand for a demo or they're warm enough that they know who we are when you call them or you email them and they say, oh yeah, I've heard of ChurnZero. I read your blog post. I was very interested in this or that. So a lot of that is keeping each team member doing new things and not getting stuck. And how do you make sure they're looking for the next different play or they're honing the blocking skills so every time, look, getting an open rate from a 25% to a 35% flows all the way down in that funnel, right? It all improves. So all those little things and help. And that's kind of like you said, like it's a blocking and tackling of getting your team better at it.
Let everybody know where they can find you if they want to learn more about you or ChurnZero.
ChurnZero.net. Definitely check us out. We have a great blog. We have some events coming up in the fall. But Chris, again, thank you so much. This has been a pleasure.
Hunter Montgomery. We're going to continue talking, guys. If you want the bonus footage, they should be available in the show notes. And until next time, happy marketing. We spoke about block and tackle, the importance of block and tackle. I think we could have a whole episode just about that. But I want to change the subject and just ask, because you sort of said, hey, the balance between the new stuff, the shiny things, which there's value in new stuff. There is, sometimes game-changing new stuff comes out. versus the block and tackle. But I'm curious, what shiny stuff are you guys looking at right now, or like what's on your investment agenda for the second half of the year?
So I think it's taken me a while to come around to the whole ABM, and I think ABM, right, probably a little misnomer earlier on, or ABX is what people are calling it now. And we were talking earlier, it's just account marketing from 20 years ago, right? But just a new title, but because they have tools that make it much better, much more effective. So after a couple of years of really kind of looking at it, questioning it, we are now looking really hard, and really it's about the intent data, right? As the systems are getting better and they can bring it all together, I'll call out one vendor just because there's a lot of good ones, but we've been taking a really hard look at 6 Sense and what they can do and bringing it all together. It's very similar kind of what we pitch on our platform, where we bring different disparate data sources for an organization into one platform, so you can get a good picture of your customers. Are they going to churn? What are the indicators that help you understand that? It's the same thing on the intent data, ABM, ABX side. Like, what can you now understand from all the activity that people are doing on the internet, on your website, with your sales team, on whatever platform that you have access to make sure when those SDRs and salespeople call them, they already have a really good picture of who that person is and know they're not wasting their time just, on a dialer, just churning through numbers, and people have no idea who you are, no idea what CS is. That's not their role. Just because their title says it may not be there. So this intent side, and really where the ABM has come, we feel very strongly that that's going to give a much more efficient interaction with a person and a company, right? It's not just the person, it's the organization that has been looking at CS and at your company or your competitors. So that conversation is just much more relevant to everybody. So that's, again, like I said, I'm probably a little late to the game, but it took me a little while to get convinced that it was worth the time and the effort putting all these systems together. But that's what we're focused on the end of this year.
Is it like stood up already, or is it something you're about to do?
No, still we're the beauty of having a couple of operations people on my team, we're hacking together current data sources to look like what a 6 Sense would look like, to kind of prove it out.
Yeah.
But it's looking good, and we're feeling pretty comfortable with it. A lot of due diligence. I mean, the beauty of as the B2B SaaS, or I guess even bigger and bigger, we have a great network that we can go to that have used other platforms, and where we're really hearing is, yes, this works. Here's how it works. Don't do this. Do this. Try this. And so that goes a long way when you have validation from other similar companies, and it's not a reference from the vendor. It's you just ping your own network, and someone comes and says, "Yeah, I'd use that. Here's my experience," and you get on a call. And then the big thing is convincing our sales organization. Right? It's sales and marketing, and that's probably what's, to me, kept ABM behind a little bit. Is you need sales bought in. It's got to be together. Right? They got to believe that the system is for both sides, not just one. And I think we're there too.
What are some of your go-to playbooks? So you arrive CMO day one, the lead queue's dried up. What are some of your just tried and true? Hey, do we have an email list? Okay, let's send an email. Just kind of some of your simplest and most useful playbooks that you use.
I mean, I come from the demand gen and operations side. So this is not very glamorous and sexy, but part of it is getting your systems working the right way. You have to have the right data. We weren't doing any workflows in HubSpot, like automated campaigns, personas. You got to come in and those are some of the easy ones to do. I mean, basic HubSpot personas, they work pretty well. I mean, you just use the data you have, you can work people through. So I think it's getting your systems up and running the way they need to run and tracking people in the other. And the other side of it is, again, not sexy. Leads come in. What's the quality? Because if I can see these are good, I'm doing more of those. If these aren't good, I'm doing less of those. Paid media. You got to see if those Google AdWords ones are working. If they're not, don't spend the money. But if they are working, spend more money. You have to know what's working so you can focus and do more of that. And then obviously on the other side, what's not working. You need to stop that. So that's that's kind of my go-to again, like the blocking and tackling. It's not sexy, but get in there and make sure systems are working properly, giving you the data you need to know what you need to focus
on. 100%. Have there been any breakthroughs that you've had recently, like whether it's with a new shiny object or like a really effective campaign that you've run, or how has ChurnZero been growing so fast?
I mean, I think it's a little bit of a great product. Right? Look, marketing is very, very easy when you have a great product and a lot of customers who love to talk about you and go to G2 and give you a great rating. And, the reference sites, review sites are great for that. I mean, I think a lot of it is just sort of the constant being out there with information. A lot of our way we position ourselves is being experts at CS. We have a very talented chief customer officer. Yuman is very talented at the customer success and the SaaS world. But it's promoting that we know what to do. We're a tool, but you also need to know how to use that tool. And I think a lot of it is from thought leadership webinars to, like, we used to do these in-person events, networking events all over the country. They're great. COVID happened, they went away. We moved that model online and try to kind of create different types of content online for people to consume. But kind of the thing that I've learned the last 2 years here was I've done live events. We've all done live events before. Some work, some don't. They're hard. Sometimes hard to connect that line between the event and sales. But these networking events we've done are phenomenal. And so we're excited. We're back at it. We have 2 in August. But they're networking. They're 20 to 25 people at a customer site in a city. We had 26 planned for 2020. Obviously, that didn't happen. But they are a great way to connect with the CS space. Because part of our thing with our market is it's growing so fast. People don't know what they need to do to be successful. We're having people who start as a CSM and 6 months later they're a director because there's no directors. So they got to fill a void. And if they can become experts and we can help them, it's a great way for them to move up. And that's a little bit what we've done with those events. So kind of right back to what you said, it's really kind of promoting our users as experts, giving them the tools and also the resources to be good at a growing young market that needs people who know what they're doing.
Yep. So I am curious about ChurnZero and how it works. I mean, can you give us kind of like a brief overview of just like what's the magic to it? Does it monitors like signals from different systems and it's like, whoop, something looks weird over here?
It takes the data from whatever system you have, primarily your app, right? Your product. So are people going on? Are they using it? Are they logging in? What are they doing? We have walkthroughs. So if we can have someone learn what feature that works. For many SaaS companies to understand, like onboarding a customer is the most critical point for them using their product. You want them in there, you want them using it, and you want them using the right features of your product that based on data will be successful for them and get them to continue to come back. So we take a lot of that. We create a health score. Your CS team can go in there, look at accounts by health score, uses data from other systems, a CRM, a finance system, if you have a support system. And so a lot of that data it brings it in there, combines it for a health score, allows you to do the NPS surveys. So it's really sort of the main, if you will, like console to understand what your customers are doing from an individual to a book of business to the entire company, right? So you can project out, hey, what do we look like for the next 3 months, 6 months in terms of risk of churn, or you also can use it to see opportunities for upselling and cross-selling. If someone's using a feature that this is another option that they could do to enhance it, or understanding how someone's using their product and being able to quickly offer it up there as a kind of an additional resource without it being the old school way of, hey, I'm your account manager. Do you want me to demo this product for you? Because we think it would be a good fit. But obviously it's just because I'm the salesperson and I want you to buy this versus ways to make you more successful at the product that you have.
That's brilliant. That's a brilliant idea. And I've noticed, like, we do work with several B2B software companies, and they hire us and they spend all this time and attention focused on, the website. I've never had one basically say like, hey, can you take a look at our like UI and like give me some tips? But we recommend it frequently. And one of them particularly allowed us to not do what you're doing, but we just basically set up Hotjar, on their app. So we could see heat maps and user session recordings. And there was a couple of like serious impediments to the finalization of the onboarding. And we were able to improve that metric pretty dramatically, just like without much work. So it's
exactly right. Those are the things you want to do because you want to help your customers, and you have to scale it too. You don't want to have a call with every single one to tell them they have to do this. This is where you can run plays. It's very similar to market automation, right? You run a play to this segment based on what they need to do, and it could be an alert, a walkthrough, get them where they are when they're in your app. And they say, oh, I didn't know about that feature. Click, use it, and then you're done. And then in the back end, your CS team sees, wow, that play has a 75% successful rate, and that's going to help. So I know that my customer base is going to be that much more successful.
Wow, that's brilliant. I'm sure there's many applications for that. I'm sure you're saving and or earning many companies millions of dollars a year.
We think so.